Welcome back to the Create Happy Now podcast. We are on the 7th episode of Launch Day. In the previous episode, episode 6, Christine Cottagio talked about how vision mapping can start your transformation. And in the last episode, I mentioned that my next guest was going to be Michelle Mirpour, whose transformation was Eat, Pray, Love Style. Welcome to the Create Happy Now podcast, dedicated to helping you start your journey to discover true happiness. Join me, your host, Susan Blanton, weekly as we explore the transformation stories and words of wisdom from our masters of happiness with tips you can start applying today to create happy now. I have Michelle Mirpour on the show today. Michelle is a holistic lifestyle transformation coach. Michelle, welcome to the show and tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Susan. I'm really happy to be here and never thought that I would end up being a coach because I went to school and got a computer science degree. So I started as a programmer and that ended up into being a 20-year IT career. So when I realized in the mornings I was not excited to get up and go to work anymore, that's when I said, I need to figure out what is going to make me happy, because I started, of course, I went through a big transition myself. I went through a very difficult divorce 18 years ago. I left everything, the house, the furniture, everything. Going through that process of just completely downsizing my entire life and restarting from scratch and changing my lifestyle, that is probably something that a lot of people are going through. And I wasn't the only one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. I started as a professional organizer and just coaching people through the process of transition and lifestyle changes.
Right. So if someone was just starting out on their journey, what's your secret sauce for helping someone, if they really want to master happiness and live a life of abundance, ease, and grace? Where would they start?
I think it all begins with the mindset. So really putting your mindset in a positive state and telling yourself that you deserve happiness and you deserve to find your purpose, and you're going to put all your focus and energy in finding that. Even if you are just starting out and you have no idea what that might be, speaking in a positive voice to yourself and switching that state from any kind of uncertainty or negativity perhaps to a positive state of hope, you would be able to really start to feel like there is a light at the end of the tunnel and you are going to start working towards that. So I think a positive mindset and just having hope and faith that everything's going to be okay, because I think making a little bit of progress every day on that path is going to bring you ultimate happiness, and not being so hard on yourself, because we're bound to make mistakes. We all make mistakes until we figure out, what it is that we truly want to do in life.
I think too, people bark up the wrong tree sometimes of what they think is going to bring them happiness. So
Mm-hmm.
can you speak to that? And, when it has to come with like clutter and things that you have that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, I can speak for myself, from personal experience. When I was in my marriage and I was unhappy, obviously, I would, I would turn towards retail therapy, and it's called therapy for a reason because it was very therapeutic. So I would go shopping constantly, just filling up the house with things. And of course, that's the physical clutter, right? So you're barking up the wrong tree there, thinking that that's going to bring you happiness. But the reality is that physical things don't bring you happiness. I had all of that. I had a huge, mansion and all kinds of furnishings and clothing and accessories, and none of those things ultimately made me happy. It's when I left all of that behind and had to just leave that world, that I was so used to, and start completely from scratch, and realizing in that process that none of that physical stuff was necessary, because 2 years later, living in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment. I had no furniture for the first year. I slept on the floor. I had no bed, but I was happy. I was happy because I had made a big decision for myself, and that was to walk away from a life that did not make me happy. It was a decision to look out for myself and stop worrying about making other people happy, because that's what I did ultimately in my life, was always, try to make my ex-husband happy and try to make my parents happy,
Mhm, mhm.
and making sure that everything was just right, everything is. And then I made it my mission to help other people realize that it absolutely is possible, and all these things around us are not the answer. The
Yeah,
answer has always been inside. it's
e
it's always been inside of us, and we just need
exactly.
to figure what that is and bring it out.
Tell the listeners a quick sneak peek about your Eat, Pray, Love adventure.
Oh, yes. That was an amazing soul searching journey. And I actually wasn't calling it my Eat, Pray, Love adventure. When I came back, everyone who I would tell the story to said, "You essentially went on this Eat, Pray, Love adventure." I'm like, that's fascinating, because, when I ended up seeing the movie, I said, yeah, that's very much like my story. And I decided that I wanted to start truly living life, because I had never really done that, like, for myself. And I said, I'm going to be a little selfish, and I'm just going to leave everything behind
And that's
and just take
okay.
off, take off on this journey. Why not? And that's what I did. I was the most spontaneous I had ever been in my life. I literally booked a one-way ticket to India, and everyone said, why India? Why did you choose India? How did you choose India? And I said, well, I've always been fascinated with the culture, and they're very colorful, and just, things that made me happy, right? Happy colors, happy music, happy dancing. And I'm going to start there. And it made perfect sense looking back, that I would pick India as a starting place. It was on Christmas Day, December 25th, 2011. And I booked it for the next day. So I literally flew
Wow.
out the next day,
Wow.
and it was a one-way ticket.
Wow.
And I remember my family asking, like, where are you going? Do you have any plans? And I said, I actually don't. I'm just going to India, and that's all I know. I'm going to start there, and I'll see, where the journey takes me. I ended up coming back to the States 8 months later. And it was just an amazing journey of self-discovery and growth. It was very spiritual. I ended up spending time at yoga ashrams, and I did silent meditation retreats, and did a lot of hiking, and just a lot of solitude during this journey. And I came back with a whole new perspective. And when I came back from this trip, I said, you know what? I really don't need any of this stuff to be happy. And I started getting rid of a lot of things in my life again. Just seeing how people lived in other countries, especially India, with very, very little, yet they were happy, and they were smiling, and they were just spending time with family. And I said, that's ultimately all we need in life, is, going back to the basic, simple things that bring us joy. And that's love and family and shelter, and your health, obviously. And if you have those things, what more do you need? Everything else is just icing on the cake.
Yep. Yep. Just gravy, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
tell the listeners what special you have for them for listening today.
I want to provide everyone a 30-minute call with me, completely free, just to hop on and have a conversation about where they are in life, if they are looking to make a change, if they want a transformation, what that would potentially look like for them. Any way that I could help kind of spark that start to their journey, because I know that when I was going through that, there was no one that I could talk to. And so I think it's so important for people who want to make a change to be able to have someone to talk to, someone who's unbiased, someone who's not going to, judge them. And oftentimes we feel that family and friends, people who are close to us, are going to be very
Mhm.
judgmental.
How would they find you?
They can go to my website, which is www.organized, with a D on the end, organizedlifebymichelle.com.
Okay, great. So I really am looking forward to you coming back on this show again, because we're going to be doing a lot more deep diving on your experiences. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Susan. I'm so excited.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening to episode 7 of the Create Happy Now podcast. If you like this episode, please subscribe, rank, and review, and you can get a free meditation by yours truly by clicking the link in the episode description as my thanks to you. On the next episode, you will meet Christina Stewart. Find out why people call her a soul seer. She is an award-winning photojournalist who, even though she experienced and overcame domestic traumas, she brings laughter, light, and love to everyone she meets, and how you can too.